Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sheep Get Sheared Podcast, home of people, politics, and popular culture. I'm your host, Austin Creed. I want to welcome you into the show this morning. My friends, today we're going to talk about something that I'm passionate about. I kind of always talk about something I'm passionate about, I suppose. But there's this idea on the internet about hustling. 50 Cent popularized the idea, and he's not the only rapper to talk about it. This whole idea of hustle culture, hustle mode, has become increasingly popular over the years. And so I believe it to be incredibly important to not necessarily address hustling, but to address what I call reverse hustling. People who, instead of working forward, they work backwards. They sabotage themselves. There's this very powerful marketplace of self-improvement, self-help. And I'm all for it. I'm all for people improving themselves, people wanting to be better than they were yesterday. That's what I preach as well. But here's the difference. There are men that I see especially, and ladies, I would talk about y'all, but this is more of a man show when it comes to topics like this, because I come from the male perspective, the male viewpoint, so I can't talk about the woman perspective in the same way that I can talk about the male perspective. But I digress. Let's get back to the show. So let's get down to business here. When I talk about hustling, look, it's very, very easy to think that it's scamming, that it's doing these less than legal things. Not true. Hustling just means you're hungry out here. When I see articles, and I've done a show on this in the past, about men in Generation Z and the Zennials failing to launch. They're 30 years old, and they have no idea what the hell they're doing with their life. Can you believe this? I talked to my grandfather, I talked to my father. They knew what they wanted to do, or at least they were working towards something by 25, 22 when they got out of college. But there's this new trend of people need to have everything planned out, and they need to have everything needs to fall into place for them to even take the first step. That's not how it works. That's not how it works at all. In fact, that's not how it's worked for me. I was in the military, I worked at Chick-fil-A, now I'm doing this show, I'm going to college. There's always going to be something else going on. But you have to move forward. And going back to this idea of self-help, self-improvement, and all that kind of stuff, too many people I'll see, they're overweight, they're out of shape, they don't have a lot of money, they don't have good habits, and they want to wonder why they don't have it all together. And second, they think that they're going to get the whole act together in about 5 years, a year, 3 years. My friends, if you are in the hole, if you're in debt, if you're overweight, if you have these bad habits, you have to unlearn your bad habits before you step into the neutral zone and then can work on developing good habits. You're not going to go from being overweight, broke, and have bad habits to having a six-pack, making six figures, and having all these good habits in a year. In even 3 years, it's going to take you time to get back to ground zero, to then build a new foundation. You got to tear down the old one, get back to the bare bones, and then you build onto that. That's how it works. But unfortunately, too many people are sold this idea that it's easy to improve, it's easy to get help, and it's easy to rearrange your life. No, it's the hardest thing you'll ever do. I'd say that from personal experience. You have to be willing to sacrifice what you have to get what you want. You're not going to be able to keep both. But too many people, they want to be comfortable and chase their dreams. They want to be comfortable and get rich. They want to be comfortable and transcend their normal bounds that they've lived with for X number of time. Like, let's look at some normie content, okay? I'm gonna tell you a couple examples of what the average person, let's say they're 13, 14, 15, or maybe they're even in their early 20s, late 20s, whatever, and they need to get their life together, and they've been drifting this whole time, and they want to really get their act together. Here are a couple tips that they give you on the internet. Get comfortable, quote, being a man. I don't even know what that means. Pay your bills and wake up on time. Look at this. This is some bare minimum shit. This is some bare minimum type shit that some people can't even do. I had to learn this I learned this in the military. Trust me, you learn that real quick. Number 3, run a lot and pick up heavy stuff. What kind of baby advice is that? Run a lot and pick... See, this is what I'm talking about. These are the things that kids read, and then they wonder why they can't get ahead. Adopt a healthier diet. Okay, that's not bad advice. Number 5, start taking your lifestyle seriously. Well, no duh. Of course you gotta take your life seriously. Number 6, speaking of style, level that up as well. Yes, but you don't want to level up. You need to live within your means. We're not talking about that yet. Living within your means. Okay, number 7, hustle, get money, repeat. Oh, geez, wow, that's very specific. Look, again, hustle, this idea of hustle. Hustle when I grew up, I played a lot of basketball. Hustle to me implied effort and meant even if you didn't get the ball. Like a hustle play in basketball is you put in a lot of work. You don't focus on so much the result. You have a result in mind, but you work really hard to make it happen. You dive for the ball out of bounds. You run to get back on defense. These are the hustle plays I'm talking about. In life, you need to make the same thing. You need to be hungry. You need to take very direct, very urgent action to accomplish the things you want to accomplish. You can't just sit back on your behind and be like, I hope something good happens to me. Yeah, that's not going to happen. All right, number 8, fix your dating life. Oh, no. Okay, this is the problem again. This is a great example of reverse hustling. Dating. Let me tell you something. If you're trying to broke date, if you're a dude in college, high school, or even if you just try to found a business, maybe you're down bad and you're maybe in your 30s, your 40s, whatever, do not, I repeat, do not go dating. Do not get on dating apps. Do not go try to hit up some friend to schedule you a blind date. Do not do that crap. Do not do that. Because here's what's going to happen. Dating is not free. Vagina is not free. The company of women is not free. So if you think, well, Austin, I got it for free. I didn't pay. Schmuck, if you bought her dinner, that's paying. If you spent hours with her, that's paying. If she told you about her emotional garbage you didn't care about, but you sat there and you listened anyway, that's paying. If you had to sit there and be like, oh my gosh, I can't wait for this to be over, I just want to get the guts and leave, that's paying. If you had an end goal of getting the vagina at the end of the date, but you didn't get it, you paid, sir. Again, you think this whole thing is just a game? Well, in a sense, it is a game. But there's a winner and there's a loser. And more times than not, as a man, you're going to be the loser. It's only when you have leverage, options, opportunities, power, that you're actually going to be able to get what you want because you'll be able to walk away. But dating is where people begin reverse hustling. They think that finding a wife, finding a girlfriend and whatnot is going to help them be successful. No, my friend, it won't. In fact, more often than not, it's going to hinder you. It's going to hold you back. It's not going to help you. Alright, let's see what else normie advice they have. Find your purpose. Okay, that's very vague. But there's truth in this. You need to, I would phrase this differently because this sounds really woo-woo out there, not direct. I would rephrase that. I would say, find what makes you happy. Find what you enjoy doing. And then find a way to make money off of what you enjoy doing. Whether it's gaming, get on Twitch. If it's having your voice be heard like mine and having good conversation, go to podcasting. If you like photography, well, then start freelance photography. There are so many different ways you can monetize things you enjoy. That is what I would say instead of find your purpose. I would say find what you're passionate about and then monetize it. That's what you should do. Oh, and going back to monetization, the dating marketplace now is very monetized. You know how many women there are on Instagram? You know those women on Instagram that you thirst after? Yeah, they are basically 304s. They are getting paid by dudes in Dubai, by dudes on Wall Street, by rich dudes you've never heard of to do double backflips, front flips, bend over backwards, touch your toes, all these things. They're being paid to do all that. And then they want to come out here and date you, the average guy, and want a real relationship, a long-term relationship. Hey man, I'm not telling you this to be resentful towards women. I'm telling you this because this is how it actually is going down in these streets. And just because you're not seeing it, you're going to tell me I'm tripping. All right. Okay. Go ahead. Believe that if you want. Get back to me in a couple years when you figure out that I was right. Get back to me after you get a divorce. Get back to me after your girlfriend cheats on you with some dude who's a sugar daddy that you didn't know about. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I know women in my life who you would never guess that they have a sugar daddy. They're very unassuming, very low-key, very innocent looking, but they have sugar daddies, man. Oh, yeah. Again, I want you to realize what's happening so you can then accept it or reject it. But if you reject it, go ahead. If that's what you want to do, just be aware that you'll lose in the long run. This is good advice. I like this advice. Become a, quote, dangerous man, unquote. Now, Jordan Peterson is where I first heard this concept from. Shout out to him. I believe it to be a huge misnomer of a weak man is a virtuous man. An unassuming man is a good man. Kind of like the Mr. Rogers look. Do not be Mr. Rogers. Because guess what? Weakness is not a virtue. Weakness is not virtuous. Having power and exercising that power in a merciful, generous, compassionate way, that is virtuous. Having the ability to inflict harm and choosing instead to help is virtuous. But being unable to help or harm is not virtuous. That's why I like this idea of being a, quote, dangerous man. You need to be able to help. But to help, you have to first be able to control your own life. You need to be able to be dangerous. Because if you're not dangerous, think about people in most fiction, right? The Witcher, Deadpool. These guys that are dangerous, but they can also be anti-heroes. They're the anti-hero archetype. They have the ability to do bad things, but they choose to do good things. But they can do bad things. It's the fact that they can do bad things that makes it more meaningful when they do something good. Versus if you have nothing else to do but comply with what society says, that's not being virtuous, that's just being a lemming. That's not being a good person, that's just being a follower. Let's see, let's look at another one here. Confront and defeat your shame. I call this, this is basically saying kill the beta. Shout out to Steph is Cold. This is like saying killing the beta. You need to basically say, hey, I'm not going to allow my shadow self to run my life to control me. I call it the shadow. Your shadow hides from the light, just as your shame is hidden from most people. You need to defeat your shadow self to set yourself free. You need to defeat the worst inclinations within yourself, the things that are holding you back, depression, shame, guilt, sorrow. You need to defeat these things because otherwise they'll slowly sink in and they'll feel warm, but they'll lead to throwing you out in the cold and being alone, and not in a good way. Find mentors. Okay, that's not a bad idea, but make sure you choose your mentors wisely, because you could find someone who's going to hinder you more than actually help you. So be aware of that as well. Level up self-discipline. Now, this is a very good topic. However, another example of reverse hustling is being comfortable. If you want to be disciplined, you need to throw yourself in the deep end. You need to do things that make you uncomfortable so then you can control yourself. For example, I'll give you an example of how a lot of people would reverse hustle. Yesterday, I couldn't find my keys. I was traveling. I couldn't find my keys. Normally, most people would freak out. And my initial reaction was to get flustered, be upset. And I thought to myself, wait, hold on a second. What is that actually going to accomplish? Answer, nothing. So then I said, okay, well, let's think about it. Where did I last see it? Where did I last have it? So let's pretend. Let's say I couldn't find it. What am I going to do next? I then started to plan out every potential option. If I found it, good. If I didn't find it, okay, well, what do I need to have replaced? How much is it going to cost me? What am I going to lose? All these things, that is discipline. Freaking out, being emotional, that's not discipline. You need to throw yourself into complicated, hard situations, and you need to learn to swim. But a lot of people hustle, they either hustle in reverse, or as other people would say, they hustle backwards by instead saying that they need to be as comfortable as possible and insulated from suffering. No. It's only through suffering that you become stronger, more self-sufficient. Write down your goals. This is a Napoleon Hill concept. Write down your goals. This is something Napoleon Hill popularized in his book, Think and Grow Rich, which if you haven't read, you should read that. I talk about these ideas in Biblical Bachelor. You can pick that up as well by yours truly, Austin Creed. But let's think this through for a second. If you think writing down goals is silly, like getting an actual piece of paper, I'm not talking about on your phone. I'm saying actually get a piece of paper and a pen and write it down. That's not silly. Some of the men you look up to who have made millions and billions of dollars have done this. They didn't think they were above it. So why do you think you're above it? Let's see, what's another example? What's another advice that they would give someone that I think is worthy of listing off? Start being more honest. Yes, but you need to start with yourself. Be more honest with yourself about where you're at and where you need to go. Stop inflating yourself. Stop throwing yourself down a peg. Be honest with where you are at so then you can properly diagnose the problem and then you can choose to move forward in any way that you want. Okay, this are more ideas of hustling in reverse. They give you these weird dichotomies of be kind and respectful, but don't take other people's crap. Okay, but how does someone find that line? Again, this is the equivalent of a woman saying, "I want a dude who's masculine and traditional, but he can't be controlling and he can't tell me what to do and what to wear and whatnot." It's like, what? No, that's not how this works. If you want to be with a dude who has it together, he's going to be used to telling himself what to do, so you better fall in line. Same thing here. It's hard to be kind and respectful, but also stand up for yourself if you're not used to it. See, spend less time on your phone. Well, it depends on what you're doing on your phone. If you're like me and you spend a lot of time on X and editing and working on bettering your brand and working on producing content, then no, that I would disagree. If you're using it to watch, could be a consumer and a drifter, then yes, I would agree. They talk about prawn. Well, I know I'm mispronouncing that. I'm doing it on purpose. Prawn, that one's a complicated one. Yes, it's bad, but I'd also say it's a lesser of two evils. If you're gonna be thirsty and whatnot, it's a lesser of two evils than going and wasting a lot of your time trying to just get some booty for free. or what you would classify as free when nothing is free. Drink less booze, I would agree with that. Alcohol in general, there's a time and place for it, I suppose, but in general, it just makes you age faster. It's only gonna make you, it's a money hole that makes you look worse and make bad choices most of the time. Just being totally honest. Okay, now this is a great idea right here. That, again, is an example of reverse hustling. They say replace one loser friend with a winner friend. Okay. A lot of people reverse hustle when they try to bring their loser friends with them. Now, what is a loser? Well, that's really for you to decide. What I would say is someone who is not like-minded and who will never see what you're dealing with, what you're doing, and who's only going to try to take you off your current path that's helping you win. That's a loser mentality. A winner friend is someone who wants to win with you and conquer and conquest with you, not someone who's trying to change you, change how you operate and everything else. That's not winning. But an example of reverse hustling is trying to get your quote loser friends, the people who maybe you grew up with but who have a normie traditional mindset of being a corporate slave, basically, which is what the Rockefellers and the robber barons created the school system to kind of replicate and produce. Those people are not going to often see what you're talking about and why you do what you do. So you need to be aware of this, because if you're not, it's only going to work against you. So the example of reverse hustling is trying to change other people instead of seeing reality, seeing that they're not going to ever win with you, so you got to keep them at an arm's distance or just adjust your expectations. Oh, this is a great one. Don't make women the mission of your life. The perfect example of reverse hustling is focusing on women. Do not focus on women, focus on you. Focus on your ambitions. Women will always be there, bro. Women ain't going anywhere. Women are not going anywhere. Age gap relationships are on the rise. CGA did a video on that recently. Age gaps are on the rise. You need to be aware of this, because that's what that means. When you're 30, 40, you might get the girls who are 18 to 22 when you were in college, not high school, college. You probably they didn't pay you any attention when you were in college because you weren't Chad, you weren't Tyrone. That's okay. Just know that down the line, you can reach back, but you need to move forward first. The reverse hustling ideology says, I'm going to focus on making women my priority because that's what my biology says. Your biology has not been updated. You need to focus on what is real and what is going to benefit you in the long term. So my friends, are you reverse hustling? Are you working in reverse? If you are, you need to adjust this ASAP. That'd be my recommendation. Well, my friends, in the meantime, take what I've said today and apply it to your life and see what areas in your life might be holding you back, and you might be working and hustling in reverse. My friends, God bless you. God bless your families. God bless America. Get out there and let's win. Stop trying to hustle in reverse. Start hustling forwards. Peace.